Hey everyone, this is David. Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are here with the one and only Duchess Kimbo.
Oh, I love the name Duchess. Everybody, excuse this whole thing. Do you believe this? 2 weeks. Now I think I have a sinus infection. This hit me hard. Whoa. But I'm here and I have some major inside scoop on the Teresa podcast thing. Oh my Lord. We listen. There's so much to get into today, David, but you tell me where you want to start, honey.
Well, okay, I know you spoke to some other source. You were texting me last night. So I guess,
Yeah.
well, okay, do you want to, let's start with the real life stuff that you found out. Then we'll do the Teresa podcast that she just did
it happened because of the Teresa podcast.
Okay, well, you know what? Start with the Teresa podcast then.
Okay. So I know Carlos King. When we were filming my North Jersey Country Club, the famous Posh fashion show, Carlos King was my producer also. Okay. So he was Danielle's, Teresa, and mine. He was the head producer on the show at the time. So when I sold all those tickets to the North Jersey, it was oversold. It was crazy. But I did all the seating like a wedding. Everyone knew where they were supposed to sit. When I walk in, the friggin' people are waiting. They don't know where they're sitting. What is going on? Well, what was going on was Carlos King came in and decided to change the whole seating arrangement because he wanted me, Jacqueline, and Teresa to sit directly across from Danielle and Kim G. So he changed everything and people were like a tizzy. It was wild. My mother, of course, she was the grande dame of North Jersey and she was so excited that I was having my Posh fashion show, not realizing what was going to happen. So that's my Carlos King. Also, Carlos King better admit to this and probably put me on his podcast. But Carlos King and I and Kim G used to go to STK. Kim G would get the limo and we'd go and we'd have a great time. And me and Carlos were always attracted to the same guys. It was hysterical. So that's that. I loved Carlos King. I didn't know how much he loved Teresa. This came as a bit of not a shock, but there was certain things that he had said to me, not bad about Teresa. He, never talked bad about any of the girls. But what he did say, which I'm sure he's going to remember, is that none of the husbands were the best of husbands on the show, like, because he was all in their houses at the time. This was like season 1, 2, and it was before Kathy and Melissa came on. And he said, basically, the women on the show at that time, when their husband says jump, they say how high. This is the way he described what was going on inside those families. Okay. Carlos, I'm sure you remember that. And I don't think there was anything wrong in saying that. That's just the way it was back then. I don't know about now. So Carlos and I used to have such a great time together. And he was the best producer. He really knew how to make things happen. Like when he sat us across from each other, we had to look at her and she had to look at us. It was really magic that night. And of course, everyone knows what happens when Teresa and Jacqueline chasing her through the North Jersey, the dishes, the glasses are going up. I got hit with this crazy bill. Thank God Sirens paid for it. But it was a fun time with Carlos. And like I said, we used to go out. STK was one of the places downtown. So anyway, now Carlos has his own podcast and he gets Teresa and Melissa Feaster on. And I'm listening and I'm like, geez. And then of course, Teresa all of a sudden realizes, oh, one of my best friends, Carlos King, I didn't invite you to the wedding. Really, Teresa? That's very Teresa. Everyone's always an afterthought when they come on and say how much they loved her and how, all of a sudden, oh, geez, I should have invited you to my wedding. And recently I saw her post a friend of hers, Lisa G, which happens to be a lovely girl. It's been years since Teresa's out of jail. All of a sudden now, she realizes that when she was in jail, Lisa was taking her kids everywhere. I think I'm going to finally say something decent about Ruelas. Is everyone ready?
I don't think that I'm ready.
I think, even though he is what he is, I think that he is a good influence on Teresa. I think whether it's fake or real, his zen, his sister's forgivity, all this stuff is a good influence on her because all of a sudden now, all these things are coming to fruition. But she also said she never watched the show. And now she's watching it and seeing all the things that Melissa and Joe talked about her. I'm going to predict the most explosive reunion in our lifetime is going to be coming up. I have so much to say on this, but David, I want to,
I've got some things to say to all of that.
Let's handle that first.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk more. That's what I'm saying. This is all about what she said and my retort. So go ahead. All
right. Well, first of all, I had Carlos King on this very podcast. Second of all, Carlos King is one shady motherfucking.
Yes, he is.
And I mean that in the most best way possible.
It's a compliment, Carlos. A compliment.
It's a compliment, Carlos. I asked Carlos on here, Kim G or Kim D. Kim D clearly is his favorite. So there you go. Everyone go and listen to our Carlos King chat. Yeah, listen, Teresa's not best friends with Carlos. Like, I mean, she's sitting there, he's kissing your ass, so you should have invited him to the wedding. Well, you should have, but I mean, you haven't spoken to him in a hot minute.
Right.
And wow. And you're also dating yourself when you say a limo picked you up. I mean, whatever. I can't even,
I know.
What is this, like the fucking 90s? But okay. And I guess that's all I have to say about that so far.
Okay, well, I would still go in a limo. I like the whole limo thing. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Kim G paid for it, of course. It was fabulous. Yeah, obviously. She's the one with the big bucks.
Let her pay.
Let her pay. So, me and Carlos we had a ball, So with that said, now, what's stuck in my craw is the way she talks about Kathy.
This is from the podcast, right?
Yeah. She didn't mention her name, but my family. My family was ruined because of fame and money. Okay. So I went back to people that I know and I said, all this talk about Teresa saying how close she was with her brother, was that like high school? Was that, it was when they were both single. Okay. And she blames what happened with Melissa. When Melissa married him, all of a sudden it was not the relationship. So I venture into the sprinkle cookies because Teresa brings up the sprinkle cookies on Carlos King's show and says, I was only trying to be a good sister-in-law. If you're going to walk the walk and dress the walk and have the big house and dress your kids nice, you could at least go to the store and buy pastries, not bring sprinkle cookies. And it wasn't me who threw them in the garbage. It was my mother-in-law who basically said, who brought these sprinkle cookies, disgraziata, and threw them in the garbage? Wow.
And what do you mean? Because we thought it was Teresa all these times. I mean, first of all, I don't even know. I don't know. Why are we talking about something? It doesn't matter. No, I mean, I'm interested to hear this. But
okay, the reason why we're talking about that is because Teresa truly believed that Melissa bringing